This is the Read Through the Bible in a Year Bible study video for March 24th, 2026. Oh, dear Heavenly Father, guide me as I read your word. Direct me and show me what you want me to learn from it and what you want me to say and write so that I may serve you better and bless those who watch this video and read what I wrote. In Jesus' name, amen. I'm reading Judges chapters 11 through 13 from the English Standard Version. Now Jephthah the Gileadite was a mighty warrior, but he was the son of a prostitute. Gilead was the father of Jephthah, and Gilead's wife also bore him sons. And when his wife's sons grew up, they drove Jephthah out and said to him, "You shall not have an inheritance in our father's house, for you are the son of another woman." Then Jephthah fled from his brothers and lived in the land of Tob, and worthless fellows collected around Jephthah and went out with him. After a time, the Ammonites made war against Israel. And when the Ammonites made war against Israel, the elders of Gilead went to bring Jephthah from the land of Tob. And they said to Jephthah, "Come, be our leader, that we may fight against the Ammonites." But Jephthah said to the elders of Gilead, "Did you not hate me and drive me out of my father's house? Why have you come to me now when you are in distress?" And the elders of Gilead said to Jephthah, "That is why we have turned to you now, that you may go with us and fight against the Ammonites, and be our head over all the inhabitants of Gilead." And Jephthah said to the elders of Gilead, "If you bring me home again to fight against the Ammonites, and the Lord gives them over to me, I will be your head." And the elders of Gilead said to Jephthah, "The Lord will be witness between us, if we do not do as you say." So Jephthah went with the elders of Gilead, and the people made him head and leader over them. And Jephthah spoke all his words before the Lord at Mizpah. Then Jephthah sent messengers to the king of the Ammonites and said, "What do you have against me, that you have come to me to fight me against my land?" And the king of the Ammonites answered the messengers of Jephthah, "Because Israel, on coming up from Egypt, took away my land, from the Arnon to the Jabbok and to the Jordan. Now, therefore, restore it peaceably." Jephthah again sent messengers to the king of the Ammonites and said to him, "Thus says Jephthah, Israel did not take away the land of Moab or the land of the Ammonites. But when they came up from Egypt, Israel went through the wilderness to the Red Sea and came to Kadesh. Israel then sent messengers to the king of Edom, saying, 'Please let us pass through your land.' But the king of Edom would not listen. And they also sent to the king of Moab, but he would not consent. So Israel remained at Kadesh. Then they journeyed through the wilderness and went around the land of Edom and the land of Moab, and arrived on the east side of the land of Moab, and camped on the other side of the Arnon. But they did not enter the territory of Moab, for the Arnon was the boundary of Moab. Israel then sent messengers to Sihon, king of the Amorites, king of Heshbon. And Israel said to him, "Please let us pass through your land to our country." But Sihon did not trust Israel to pass through his territory. So Sihon gathered all his people together and encamped at Jahaz and fought with Israel. And the Lord, the God of Israel, gave Sihon and all his people into the hand of Israel, and they defeated them. So Israel took possession of all the land of the Amorites who inhabited that country. And they took possession of all the territory of the Ammonites, from the Arnon to the Jabbok, and from the wilderness to the Jordan. So then the Lord, the God of Israel, dispossessed the Amorites from before his people Israel. And are you to take possession of them? Will you not possess what Chemosh, your God, gives you to possess? And all that the Lord our God has dispossessed before us, we will possess. Now, are you any better than Balak, the son of Zippor, king of Moab? Did he ever contend against Israel, or did he ever go to war with them? While Israel lived in Heshbon and its villages, and in Arar and its villages, and in all the cities that are on the banks of the Arnon, 300 years, why did you not deliver them within that time? I therefore have not sinned against you, and you do me wrong by making war on me. The Lord, the judge, decide this day between the people of Israel and the people of Ammon." But the king of the Ammonites did not listen to the words of Jephthah that he sent to him. Now, I want to make an aside here. So, in this description that Jephthah gives in his thing, This is not saying this is what happened. This is what Jephthah said happened. So one of the things is Jephthah said it had been 300 years since the time that Moses conquered Sihon and Og. Was it 300 years? That's not what the passage is saying. That's what the passage says that Jephthah said. Perhaps it was, perhaps it wasn't. But we need to judge that time based on other things, not upon what the passage says. There are some other things given in here that are pretty close to what we saw in the books of the Pentateuch, but are different. That's not a contradiction. That's just how Jephthah describes the situation. Continuing with verse 29. Then the Spirit of the Lord was upon Jephthah, and he passed through Gilead and Manasseh, and passed on to Mizpah of Gilead, and from Mizpah of Gilead he passed on to the Ammonites. And Jephthah made a vow to the Lord, and said, If you will give the Ammonites into my hand, then whatever comes out from the doors of my house to meet me when I return in peace from the Ammonites shall be the Lord's, and I will offer it up for a burnt offering. So Jephthah crossed over to the Ammonites to fight against them, and the Lord gave them into his hand. And he struck them from the Aroer to the neighborhood of Minnith, 20 cities, and as far as Abel Keramim, with a great blow. So the Ammonites were subdued before the people of Israel. Then Jephthah came to his home at Mizpah, and behold, his daughter came out to meet him with tambourines and with dances. She was his only child. Besides her, he had neither son nor daughter. And as soon as he saw her, he tore his clothes and said, Alas, my daughter, you have brought me very low, and you have become the cause of great trouble to me. For I have opened my mouth to the Lord, and I cannot take back my vow. And she said to him, My father, you have opened your mouth to the Lord. Do to me according to what has gone out of your mouth, now that the Lord has avenged you on your enemies, on the Ammonites. So she said to her father, Let this thing be done for me. Leave me alone for 2 months, that I may go up and down on the mountains and weep for my virginity, I and my companions. So he said, Go. Then he sent her away for 2 months, and she departed, she and her companions, and wept for her virginity on the mountains. And at the end of 2 months she returned to her father, who did with her according to his vow that he had made. She had never known a man, and it became a custom in Israel that the daughter of Israel went year by year to lament the daughter of Jephthah the Gileadite 4 days in the year. That's just such a sad thing, and a warning against giving thoughtless vows without thinking through the possible consequences. Resuming my reading with the beginning of chapter 12. The men of Ephraim were called to arms, and they crossed to Zaphon, and said to Jephthah, Why did you cross over to fight against the Ammonites, and did not call us to go with you? We will burn your house over you with fire. And Jephthah said to them, I and my people had a great dispute with the Ammonites, and when I called you, you did not save me from their hand. And when I saw that you would not save me, I took my life in my hand and crossed over against the Ammonites, and the Lord gave them into my hand. Why then have you come up to me this day to fight against me? Then Jephthah gathered all the men of Gilead and fought with Ephraim. And the men of Gilead struck Ephraim, because they said, You are fugitives of Ephraim, you Gileadites, in the midst of Ephraim and Manasseh. And the Gileadites captured the fords of the Jordan against the Ephraimites. And when any of the fugitives of Ephraim said, Let me go over, the men of Gilead said to him, Are you an Ephraimite? When he said no, they said to him, Then say Shibboleth. And he said Sibboleth, for he could not pronounce it right. Then they seized him and slaughtered him at the fords of Jordan. At that time 42,000 of the Ephraimites fell. Jephthah judged Israel 6 years. Then Jephthah the Gileadite died and was buried in his city in Gilead. After him, Ibzan of Bethlehem judged Israel. He had 30 sons and 30 daughters he gave in marriage outside his clan, and 30 daughters he brought in from outside for his sons. And he judged Israel 7 years. Then Ibzan died and was buried at Bethlehem. After him, Elon the Zebulunite judged Israel, and he judged Israel 10 years. Then Elon the Zebulunite died and was buried at Ajalon in the land of Zebulun. After him, Abdon the son of Hillel the Parathonite judged Israel. He had 40 sons and 30 grandsons who rode on 70 donkeys. He judged Israel 8 years. Then Abdon the son of Hillel the Parathonite died and was buried at Parathon in the land of Ephraim, in the hill country of the Amalekites. And the people of Israel again did what was evil in the sight of the Lord. So the Lord gave them into the hand of the Philistines for 40 years. I want to take an aside here. It appears that we have a stretch here from Jephthah to that verse I just read, the beginning of 13, where Israel went from judge to judge who led them to follow the Lord. And it was only after the death of Abdon the son of Hillel that they stopped following the Lord. Anyway, I'm going to resume and reread verse 1 of chapter 13. And the people of Israel again did what was evil in the sight of the Lord. So the Lord gave them into the hand of the Philistines for 40 years. There was a certain man of Zorah, of the tribe of the Danites, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was barren and had no children. And the angel of the Lord appeared to the woman and said to her, Behold, you are barren and have not borne children, but you shall conceive and bear a son. Therefore be careful, and drink no wine or strong drink, and eat nothing unclean. For behold, you shall conceive and bear a son. No razor shall come upon his head, for the child shall be a Nazarite to God from the womb, and he shall begin to save Israel from the land of the Philistines. Another aside, this is the first of these commands where God talks to a woman who has not given birth, who is barren or apparently barren, God instructs them to follow the vows of a Nazarite, that is, to not drink wine or other strong drink and eat nothing unclean, to be careful to live according to, and then apply the Nazarite rules to their child when they were born. This happens again with, it's not a command, it's a vow that is made by Hannah before Samuel is born, and it is the command that God gives to Zechariah for Elizabeth and for John the Baptist. Resuming with verse 6 of chapter 13. Then the woman came and told her husband, A man of God came to me, and his appearance was like the appearance of the angel of God. Very awesome. I did not ask him where he was from, and he did not tell me his name. But he said to me, Behold, you shall conceive and bear a son. So then, drink no wine or strong drink, and eat nothing unclean. For the child shall be a Nazarite to God from the womb to the day of his death. Then Manoah prayed to the Lord and said, O Lord, please let the man of God whom you sent come again to us and teach us what we are to do with the child who will be born. And God listened to the voice of Manoah, and the angel of God came again to the woman as she sat in the field. But Manoah, her husband, was not with her. So the woman ran quickly and told her husband, Behold, the man who came to me the other day has appeared to me. And Manoah arose and went after his wife and came to the man and said to him, Are you the man who spoke to this woman? And he said, I am. And Manoah said, Now, when your words come true, what is to be the child's manner of life, and what is his mission? And the angel of the Lord said to Manoah, Of all that I said to the woman, let her be careful. She may not eat of anything that comes from the vine, neither let her drink wine or strong drink, or eat any unclean thing. All that I commanded her, let her observe. Manoah said to the angel of the Lord, Please, let us detain you and prepare a young goat for you. And the angel of the Lord said to Manoah, If you detain me, I will not eat of your food. But if you prepare a burnt offering, then offer it to the Lord. For Manoah did not know that he was the angel of the Lord. And Manoah said to the angel of the Lord, What is your name, so that when your words come true, we may honor you? And the angel of the Lord said to him, Why do you ask my name, seeing it is wonderful? So Manoah took the young goat with the grain offering and offered it on the rock to the Lord, to the one who works wonders. and Manoah and his wife were watching. And when the flame went up toward the heaven from the altar, the angel of the Lord went up in the flame of the altar. Now Manoah and his wife were watching, and they fell on their faces to the ground. The angel of the Lord appeared no more to Manoah and to his wife. Then Manoah knew that he was the angel of the Lord. And Manoah said to his wife, "We shall surely die, for we have seen God." Now let's see here. This says the angel of the Lord, but Manoah says that we have seen God when they had seen the angel of the Lord. So something to keep in mind is we see this repeatedly. It refers to the angel of the Lord appearing to people and them indicating that that was God. Just a note that this is an indication of something that we as Christians view as the multi-personality of God. We have the angel of the Lord, the incarnate God, um, showing here as distinct from the God in heaven. Not, you could view it otherwise, but just a note there. Resuming with verse 23. But his wife said to him, "If the Lord had meant to kill us, he would not have accepted a burnt offering and a grain offering at our hands, or shown us all these things, or now announced to us such things as these." And the woman bore a son, and called his name Samson. And the young man grew, and the Lord blessed him. And the Spirit of the Lord began to stir in him in Mahanadan, between Zorah and Eshtaol. I am always saddened by the account of Jephthah's daughter. When Jephthah went out to fight the Ammonites, he made a foolish vow. He vowed that, if God gave him victory against the Ammonites, he would offer up whatever came out of his house to meet him upon his return he would offer that up as a burnt offering. The translator's notes indicate that the Hebrew word they translate as whatever could also be translated as whoever. Now, commentators differ on whether or not Jephthah actually made his daughter made a burnt offering with his daughter. My understanding is that while the default reading of the Hebrew leads one to that conclusion, the way those words are used elsewhere could also be interpreted as dedicating someone to spend the rest of their life in service to God, such as what happened with Samuel, such as the way that Roman Catholic nuns dedicate themselves to the service of God. If Jephthah did indeed offer his daughter as a burnt offering, he did something which was counter to all of God's commands concerning sacrifice. God never commanded human sacrifice and seems to repeatedly speak out against it. The writer writes this as a warning against making ill-thought vows. Even if Jephthah did not offer his daughter as a burnt offering, but only had her dedicated to a religious life, the writer intentionally created the allusion to human sacrifice to demonstrate the way in which Jephthah and all of the other judges fell short of fully obeying God's commands. This is a theme which we see throughout the Bible. God uses flawed men and women to accomplish his purposes. Speaking of God using flawed men, today's passage ends with the birth of Samson. We don't get into any of Samson's flaws here. We just have the story of the announcement and his birth. The writer tells us that the angel of the Lord appeared to Manoah's wife and told her that even though she is barren, she will conceive and bear a son. We see here a theme which is repeated in the birth of John the Baptist. Notice, the angel of the Lord doesn't say she was barren and will conceive. No, it says she is barren and will nevertheless conceive, demonstrating the power of God. Samson is to be a Nazarite from before his birth. That is, following the vows of the Nazarite. I want to focus on this fact that the announcement was not made by an angel of the Lord, but rather by the angel of the Lord. Manoah's wife initially believed that the being who delivered this message to her was a man of God who looked like an angel of God. Manoah prayed that God would send this man of God back to them in order to make sure that they understood all that they were to do in raising this child which would be born to them. The angel of God came again, and Manoah offered him a meal. The angel of God declined the meal, but suggested that Manoah offer a burnt offering to the Lord instead. Then Manoah asked the angel of God for his name, and the angel of God declined, saying it was too wonderful, and then went up in the flame of the burnt offering. It was at this point that Manoah and his wife realized that the, quote, man of God they had been entertaining was the angel of the Lord. When they realized that, Manoah thought that they would die because they had seen God. Not just a messenger of God, but God. So this passage uses the angel of the Lord in a way which foreshadows the Christian understanding of the Trinity. In fact, we see at the end a reference to the Spirit of God stirring up Samson in his youth. So at the end of the passage, we have both the angel of the Lord and the Spirit of God, two separate parts of the Trinity in this one passage and playing different roles, just as we see with the Trinity.